Facebook. It's a pleasure, certainly for me, to be here speaking with you. I know that what we really all love, of course, is the opportunity to build something from our homes, to build something from our smartphones. And what we really seem to be fascinated with is the growing transparency of this CloudToken project. Opportunities to see some behind the scenes snapshots, screenshots of Binance reports, of VIP climbs up the ladder with the amount of cryptocurrency being traded by this AI that's being used and managed very well by this company. And that's probably why most of you are tuning in. So this is a project that I've been involved with for probably about 2 months, maybe a couple of weeks before that. I was doing my due diligence. And of course, because none of us own the project, and so we have to dig and research just like you have to dig and research. So what we're going to do is give you a bit of a 30,000-foot overview of this presentation. We're not going to go through a lot of detail. What we're going to focus on doing instead is making sure you understand how the project works, a little bit of the origin of the project, and how you can benefit, not only right now, but how you'll be able to benefit moving forward in the future, because that's ultimately the most important thing. It's why anyone decides to take action on any project. So I've been involved in the home-based business or network marketing industry for jeepers. Ever since I was a kid, I got involved because once I understood this ability for one to leverage themselves, I became really fascinated with the idea of transitioning out of my current profession, which was as a commercial professional photographer that could only earn money when he was taking pictures, me. And so this idea of leveraging myself, being able to earn in multiple ways, was really fascinating to me as a kid. And we're going to talk a little bit about that and how you can benefit from that opportunity now. I will tell you this also, if you're new to the home-based business industry, if this is something you've been looking at from afar, the industry has evolved greatly, and largely behind that, of course, is technology. I don't think it's been any easier to get involved in a home-based project and make money from your computer, make money from your smartphone than it is right now, this moment. Of course, we're dealing with a much more competitive marketplace, but generally legitimate projects will rise to the top like cream. People will be exposed to them, and you'll have genuine opportunities for yourself. So when it comes to due diligence and homework, many of the people, Justin, Luigi, myself, have all had opportunity, and then many of you as well have had an opportunity to listen to this particular gentleman. CTO is, of course, an abbreviation for Chief Technical Officer. This is the Chief Technical Officer for CloudToken, we're all live. And he certainly is an individual who has been recognized for his achievements in blockchain development, his achievements in technology. And that was one of the reasons I became quite focused and fascinated on the project, because when we talk about opportunities that we can get involved in, projects from our home, projects from our phone, a lot of times it's coming soon. And I loved the idea that these gentlemen were winning awards for the technology that we're going to be talking about 6 months ago, 12 months ago, on tech that was being developed more than a year ago. And I really like that, because it shows a genuine investment in themselves, in their companies, and then the technology before they bring those things to us. And that's very important, that you have management teams that are prepared to spend money developing what they're developing long before we hear about it. So let's talk about a few of the key things that when I was doing my own homework that fascinated me. One of them, of course, was their resumes, their experience. Of course, access to corporate, I think, is very important as well. But you don't only have access to corporate, you also have access to understanding the various tech companies that these gentlemen own and they run, and how they're all integrated with CloudToken. You've heard the name BitBeta before, you've heard Arai, and you'll even see a 90-second video using some Arai technology. You've heard about an Australian company, an asset management license. So this is work that's already been done. And when you really do your homework and do digging, it's very easy to identify these core individuals you'll learn more about at the top of all of these companies. This level of recognition is very important as well. And then lastly, the strategic advantages of a utility token versus a security token. Many of you have been exposed to token-based projects in the past, and you've seen in some cases the prices of those tokens as an ICO, initial coin offering, go through the moon. And in many cases, you don't have a technology or a service or any sort of value that matches the incredible rise of a token price and sometimes the hundreds of dollars, and oftentimes the projects collapse under their own weight. Well, that's not going to be the case here, because there's a formula for the way this cloud token rises in price. And that, again, was a very big part of my decision-making and deciding to move forward, and we'll talk about that in a moment. When we talk about AI, and the reason AI is such an important part of this conversation is AI is the first way that you're going to be able to profit from this application you download for free on your phone. AI, of course, is an abbreviation for artificial intelligence. And if you are unfamiliar with the trading space, whether it's Forex or commodities or stocks or cryptocurrency trading, AI is standing up and being recognized in a way that has never happened in the past. And it's because we are starting to see learning AIs be able to accomplish things that human traders can no longer accomplish. And that evolution has really just primarily been happening over the last handful of years. But let's talk about a few of the differences between human trading and AI trading, and why it's so important if you can attach yourself to a very high quality, high efficiency, high profitability AI, why it's important to do so. First of all, when we talk about efficiency, there's so much data that is now available in this technological era that just wasn't available even 5 years ago. And that really feeds into an AI's ability to do its job. Secondly, access for everyone. So when we talk about some of the biggest hedge funds in the world, or the biggest investment companies and investment banks in the world, much of this tech, even 5 years ago, was only available to super wealthy people. There were barriers to entry that unless you had a net worth of millions of dollars and had experience putting some of that money into work and getting that working for you, you just were left out in the cold. And so access to all is something that I think is a very attractive thing as well. And then specifically cryptocurrency trading, because of the wild swings in cryptocurrency trading, and if you don't have experience with crypto, we often will see the price of BTC and other altcoins rise very sharply and drop very sharply over short periods of time. And for human traders, that often can leave them scratching their heads and sometimes guessing wrong and costing themselves great deals. Well, AI also does a wonderful job of managing in this particular area where emotions can really be a liability in the trading space. And then lastly, reducing risk. So we're really talking about reams and reams of information as opposed to using gut instincts, which of course, over the long haul is going to have a significant impact in reducing your risk as a participant. So let's talk very quickly. I'm going to give you, remember I said I was going to give you a 30,000 foot overview. Let's talk about how the project works. Very simply, as I said before, anyone can download this application absolutely free. And then of course, when they download it absolutely free, whether it's on Google Play or the Apple iStore, very simply to become a member, you'll need a referral code. So that's going to connect you to the person that shared CloudToken with you. Once that's done, of course, you will have the opportunity not only to fund your own AI and become generating or start generating with an AI, but again, as an overview, you also have the ability then to mention this to anyone you choose. They can also download this application absolutely free. You give them your referral link and you have an opportunity to benefit significantly. Now the slide says 10% per month. That's not exactly true. There's actually a range between 6 and 12% is what's published from the company, and that's generally what we're repeating to others. We're using 10% as very simple math, nothing more. But 6 to 12%, why such a big range? Well, trading is not a perfect science. And so that range is absolutely essential to make the system function properly. But here's where things get very exciting, is you have an opportunity when you have friends download that app for free and they use your referral link, when they also choose to load the AI and begin benefiting themselves, you have an opportunity for a 100% match of their trading gain. Now, that's very, very significant, because if you're earning, let's say on average 10% per month, and you were to share this with 10 people, which is a much easier thing to do when you're sharing an app that they download for free, well, you're now getting all of your capital back every single month. And we're going to talk a little bit about risk management at the end of this, but this is a wonderful way to make sure that your risk management comes all the way down to zero. What better way to be involved in a business than to have absolutely no risk to you? So we'll talk more about that in a moment. But it doesn't stop there, because when your friends recommend to others, you still benefit significantly with a 50% match on anyone that shows up in what we call your level 2. And then of course, 5% for level 3, and there are many levels beyond that but for a simple overview, we won't go into that detail right now. And then how you simply convert what you're generating, which is CTO, CloudToken, and we're going to talk more about that in a moment, is you'll have an opportunity then to convert that to an altcoin that I know all of you have heard of, which is called Ethereum. Very easy and very quick thing to do. And then you can pull that into your third-party wallet, whichever wallet you use, whether it's Coinbase, Blockchain, Gemini, it really doesn't matter. Or we know that coming up, because we've already gotten some sneak peeks on the opportunity. Now, this is not a legitimate or a real CloudToken card. It's simply a mock-up to let you know that this will be an option available to you moving forward later this year. So you can also convert CTO to fiat currency and use the ATM global ATM network to convert those cloud tokens into paper money. So that'll be a very easy way for you ultimately to pull your profits right out of your application. We actually call them your rewards. You're receiving CTO as a reward. So before we dive any deeper into the AI performance itself, let's give you a bit of a crash course on the utility versus security token. We talked about one of the significant benefits. And one of those significant benefits is that hype, which is often not backed by substance. Hype is not always a great thing. Hype is not going to be the determining criteria of the price of CTO. The price of CTO is actually determined directly with the results that are being generated by the AI divided by the number of CTO that actually exist. And that gives us then the size of the withdraw or reserve pool, which determines the price of your utility token. So think of a utility token as a very specific token that has to perform a function. And you acquire utility tokens, in this case CTO, not just to convert to Ethereum, but rolling into the future, you'll have many ways to spend those utility tokens, not only with large name brand online merchants, but also being able to bring those into your local economy as our point of sale or retail or brick and mortar network starts to span out beginning at the end of this year and then well beyond that. In fact, you'll probably hear in some announcements, some of the partners like PundiX that CloudToken is partnering with are absolute experts in their field. And this is one of the things when I was doing my due diligence, I paid a lot of attention to. Sometimes, maybe because of a lack of experience, you'll have CEOs of network marketing companies say things like this. And you let me know if you've ever heard anything like this. We're going to be the next Amazon. We're going to be the next whomever that's an absolute giant. I don't think that there's a dumber thing a CEO could possibly say than we're going to be the next Amazon. I mean, you're talking about a multi-billion-dollar company that took 30 years of hardcore development, and you're going to start a network marketing company and you're going to eclipse Amazon. It really just tells me that in many cases, people are often biting off more than they can chew. And one of the things that I was really impressed with CloudToken was instead of trying to be everything to all people, and instead of trying to create all these things themselves, they're partnering with companies that are already very, very good in particular fields. And that's a very smart way to move forward effectively in business. So let's talk a little bit more about this AI. First of all, the name of the AI is Jarvis, and you can see from the smartphone on the right-hand side that you can load Jarvis with a number of different cryptocurrencies, from Ethereum, Bitcoin, Bitcoin Cash, Litecoin, and the list goes down as you scroll down. You also have an opportunity with the order history to take a look at some recent trades that the AI is performing. You will probably have heard that Binance is a very significant part of where this activity is happening, but Binance only makes up about 40% of the total AI trading activity. Why is that? Well, very simply, all exchanges have market caps, volume caps, and so to trade the kind of volume that Jarvis wants to trade, they actually have API keys. And if you're unsure what that means, very simply, it is a digital way to connect to the exchange itself. Remember we talked about the sending of data? Well, data needs to come from each exchange for the AI to do its job trading. So they have 32 different sets of exchange or sets of keys for 32 different exchanges. And this really provides them an opportunity for wonderful growth and gain to really let the AI flex its muscles and do what it's doing best. It's also important for you to understand that this is not simply something they bought for a few bucks and plugged into a phone app. This actually has professional traders behind the scenes, and this actually has a professional technical team behind the scenes also, monitoring and making sure that it constantly not only does its job, but has the opportunity to grow and learn from past results. So I'm going to give you an example very simply here. When you deposit into your AI, here's the 6 to 12% we mentioned earlier. You can withdraw at any time. This is very important. And the way you would do that, I'll give you an example. You see in the screenshot under Jarvis image, it says Bitcoin 0.105 and then some other digits. If you chose to actually cancel your account, withdraw, you would simply click that pale blue box that has BTC, slide it to the left, and it would give you instructions on how to withdraw. That's how easy it is. There are no contracts. You're not bound to this in any way, shape, or form. I'm going to give you an example. Here's a bit of an above average example. This is if you had, let's say, $20,000 working for you in your CloudToken wallet. You certainly do not need to have this amount of money traded in your AI. For as little as $500, you can actually begin trading and benefiting from the sharing side. If you want to start with less than $500, you can absolutely do that as well. You just don't have an opportunity to benefit from the sharing side of things. So we're going to use that average 10% again. $20,000 in this example would pay you $2,000 per month, but it actually breaks things down a little further than that because you're going to receive that $2,000 equivalent in daily payment. So it's a daily payment, but you're going to be receiving CTO, which is their utility token. Why is that a big deal? Well, from when we first launched officially, which was mid-May, we're just a bit past that in mid-July, so a little more than 2 months now officially, we've seen our CTO price go beyond 45 cents. So from a launch price of 30 cents to 45 cents, well, that's a 50% increase. So if you're already receiving between 6 and 12%, and you are being paid in an asset that's increasing in value, well, now you have an opportunity for 2 times of growth, which can be very significant for you. If you add the third option, I'm going to share with you just in a moment, and that's that sharing reward, this is where you see sometimes opportunities where people are generating incomes that may seem absolutely mind-blowing to you. $200 a day, $500 a day, $1,000 a day, $50 a day is a life-changing income. $50 a day for many people would pay their mortgage or clean off their credit cards or handle a car payment. Well, these types of things are absolutely possible when you stack on appreciating assets to a daily payout, 6 to 12%, to an opportunity to increase the entire thing by sharing this application with others. So in this particular example, you would see 4,000 CTO per month, 2,000 monthly, a little bit less than 50 cents, 4,000 CTO per month. Remember that number, 4,000 CTO per month. I'm going to show you 2 different ways to get to the same place. Because in the last example, we showed a fairly significant deposit into the AI of $20,000. But if you were going to deposit much less, let's say $500 or $600, I'm going to show you a way to get to that same 4,000 CTO, but you just do it in a very different way. And that's you're taking advantage of this sharing bonus. This is key. So you notice on level 1, you get a 100% match of the trading results of anyone you share this with. And like we showed you before, 50% for level 2, and then 5% for levels all the way down to 3 to 21. How far you go in those levels really depends on how many people you share the application with. We also have what we call as rank promotions. And so the first significant rank promotion happens what we call C1 or Cloud 1. And that's when the entire business from you down, from your referral code down, eclipses 200,000 US dollars in amount in volume or cryptocurrency that's being traded in the AI. And then you can simply expand beyond there, and that just continues to add to your total. So remember, we talked about 4,000 CTO per month. Well, that would get you approximately 50,000 CTO per year. Now, you can get there by putting larger amounts in the AI or by smaller amounts and then sharing that with others. Well, I want you to imagine if we saw, for example, a 50% increase in our first 2 months, it stands to reason that perhaps we could see a $3 CTO price before the end of the year. If we did that and you had accumulated 50,000 CTO, well, congratulations, your first year is $150,000 a year. That's very, very significant for an application you download for free on your phone. Secondly, if we saw a CTO price continue to $6 during the course of the year, of course, we don't know for sure where it's going to go because it depends on a number of factors that are obviously beyond our control, and that's the profitability, not only of the AI, but the other features that get rolled into the company as well. Well, $6 would see you have a $300,000 first year. So there are very, very significant opportunities for anyone who gets involved. Now let's talk about a couple of the key features. if you do have home business experience, there are no packages for you to buy. Very simply, your level of involvement is based on the cryptocurrency value that you put into the AI for trading. There are no membership fees. There's no monthly auto ship. Remember, there's no contracts. You can cancel or withdraw at any time. You can absolutely benefit from passive. Remember, that's the 6 to 12%. Plus, as a passive participant, you're still benefiting from being paid in an appreciating asset, which is CTO. And then lastly, how you're generating or how the company's generating, it is actually from real trading. So for those of you who have been around the block, who have been involved in businesses before, maybe you've been involved in a product-based business where there's a monthly auto ship. One of the things that's very exciting to a lot of people with previous experience is you can have friends that load some cryptocurrency into the AI one time only, but you as the sponsor continue to get paid month after month after month. How can the company afford to do that? Because there's real trading and real profits. It's a really smart business model. So with that, I want to transition into two more things to quickly share with you. We'll be done in about 5 minutes. I want to give you just a bit of an insight as to the long-term objective or goal for this program, because this is really important. And anytime that any of us want to get involved in anything, we want there to be long-term aspirations for the company. The last thing anyone who calls and has a chance to talk with corporate team, the last thing anyone wants to hear is corporate team talk about an exit strategy after 12 months or 24 months or 36 months. That just shows a lack of interest in them in maintaining their business model long time, or perhaps a lack of belief that they have in their business model. This is something that we feel has an opportunity to run for a prolonged period of time, and that's largely because of the amount of time and energy that's already gone into some of the technology that Cloud has partnered with. And Arai, I'd mentioned before, is one of those companies. So if you wanted to grow a very extensive user base, what would you do? Well, you'd offer a free download of your application, of course, and then you'd offer real value for anyone who participates for two reasons. One, to keep their level of involvement, but also to reward them if they chose to share your application with others. And that's exactly what we've seen happen. More than 400,000 downloads after 60 days post official launch. 400,000 downloads. Now, obviously, we know the aspirations for Cloud is to get that number into the millions. Now, as you can imagine, when we start partnering with other successful companies, imagine what kind of weight that brings to the conversations when you have 400,000 downloads after 60 days and you're starting to climb into the millions into your first year. Large programs would be very happy to be doing business with you. So now what we're ultimately talking about is 4th generation blockchain. If that means nothing to you, I'm going to show you a video right now. As I said before, it's only 90 seconds long, but this could be one of the most important 90-second videos that you watch this year. 1st gen blockchain was what? It was Bitcoin blockchain. 2nd generation was Ethereum, and the Ethereum blockchain brought some new technological developments, the ability to build on top of the Ethereum blockchain. What was the 3rd gen? It was some of the lighter, the faster coins that were trying to do what? They were trying to increase the TPS, the transactions per second. What is the end game ultimately is not only for us to be able to pay things from our smartphones, but be able to use cryptocurrency and not fiat money to pay for things from our smartphones. Remember, it was Bill Gates that said Bitcoin and the concept of cryptocurrencies will do more to pull the world out of poverty than any other technological development since the era of the internet era, since the beginning of the internet. And it's this ability for us to share money or to give money or to send money one another without getting third-party permission, without getting PayPal's permission, without getting your bank's permission, without getting Western Union's permission, without getting Visa or MasterCard's permission. It's a absolutely wonderful thing. So let me show you this 4th gen blockchain because it is a huge departure from the 3 examples we gave earlier, Bitcoin, Ethereum, and the alternate altcoin strategies, because you'll see a huge increase in this transactions per second. And specifically, we get into comparing to Visa and MasterCard. If we're going to bring any technology to market, and it is really going to receive any opportunity, any chance for global adoption, we at the very least have to be able to match the services and the speeds of technology that we already use, which would be Visa, MasterCard, debit, instant pay, etc. So Visa MasterCard network processes at about 27,000 transactions per second. Now let's take a very quick look at this video. I'm going to be quiet for a moment because for 90 seconds there's an audio track here for you to listen to.
Hello everyone, this is Anthony. I'll be doing a demonstration on how Aura blockchain technology works. I have 4 mobile phones here. They have downloaded the Aura application. Let's say I will choose this guy to be the merchant, and you'll be selling tea, right, at $888, expensive tea, generating the QR, and this is the customer buying the tea. You can see when I scan the QR code, it's waiting for transaction confirmation. So when I press OK, what you will see is that the merchant and the customer will do the transaction with a witness in the network witnessing the transaction. So I press OK, and you can see the transaction and the witnessing happens. From here, you can see that the transaction is already written onto the blockchain. And the witness have a witnessing fee, right? That is to 999, which is this guy here. So if you go to the fee, you can see that we currently set at 1%. So he received $8.88. You can see it's also written on the blockchain, right? So now what we're going to do here is we're going to run a simulation for 1,000 mobile devices, right? So the entire Aura blockchain technology is actually running on mobile phones. There is no servers, there is no miners, and yep, we have 1,000 connected devices. And you can see from here, we are transacting at 26,974 transactions per second. All the transactions are written on the blockchain. The fees, the transaction itself, right? So the more users on Aura, the faster and more transactions we can process. So this is perhaps the fastest blockchain for transactions ever. Well, that's all for today. Thank you, everyone.
Okay, a couple things I want to point out very quickly as we wrap up. First of all, you take a look at the light purple box on the top right-hand side, 30387. This is transactions per second. Now, what's remarkable about this is we now have a legitimate cryptocurrency-based solution that would be fast enough for you to walk into your local corner store and pay for a pack of gum. You could never do that with Ethereum blockchain. You could never do that with the Bitcoin blockchain. And this movement away from miners and mining infrastructure and getting miners to authenticate or approve transactions and all of the cumbersome, the burden and the cost that's attached with that way of doing things, you truly are seeing an evolution in a very exciting technology. Now, there are other companies. I would say there's probably 100 companies, if there's one, that are working on creating these solutions. I personally spent 10 BTC to get involved in Hyundai's HDAC program. Now, HDAC, obviously, they did an ICO launch. They raised about $300 million. And of course, once they finish proving out their technology, what do they have to do? They're going to have to spend hundreds of millions of dollars in global advertising campaigns to try to get people to buy into their technology. What's Cloud going to do? Well, they're already going to have probably multiple millions of users that make up the mobile database that want to start using that technology right out of the gate. So I have to be honest, as a former business owner, I really appreciate and I prefer this approach where they're building the database, rewarding us for helping them build the database, and then when the tech is ready to roll out, we're all ready to roll out with it. All right, last thing I want to share with you is this, and this is very important, and we talk about managing risk because nor Justin, nor Luigi, or nor myself own this company, and some of the best laid plans can go awry. And so one of the things we always want to talk about is you, as you accumulate CTO, convert enough of that CTO that matches what you have trading in the AI, withdraw that, put that back in your jeans, or you remove that to your external wallet, And again, this is one of the best ways, not only for you, but for your friends to manage risk. And one of the fastest ways for you to get there is very simply to refer this application to your friends as well. Give them the opportunity to participate. And with that, I want to say thank you.